Lesson 9 and 10 here, equation of a line. We're going to try and do 2 in 1, so hopefully doesn't go forever this video. So we've already looked at linear equations, finding the gradient, and that the c value in the form here is the y-intercept. To find the gradient, of course, we've got our 2 points on the graph on the right, and we can use our y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 method. Negative and negative becomes a positive, so this leaves us with 4 over negative 2, which is the same as negative 2. That's good. We've got a graph that's going downwards, so a negative gradient is correct. And if we've got the y-intercept, we can just simply write it in as our c value. So in this case, it was negative 4, so we can just write it in as negative 4 here. You might get equations where you're given the gradient and a point on the line. First step is to rewrite it with the gradient in the equation. So in this case, y equals 1/3 x plus c. And then sub in your x and y values. So 2 for y and 9 for x. 1/3 times 9 is 3. If I subtract 3 from both sides, I end up with negative 1 equals c. And we rewrite the equation, so y equals 1/3 x minus 1. So that's the equation where the gradient is 1/3 and it passes through the point 9, 2. Same thing again, we've been given the gradient of 3 here and a point negative 2 and 3. So at this point here, we're subbing in our y value, and in this case, negative 2. We then can leave 3 here. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. And if I add 6 to both sides, we get to 9 equals c. And we can put that on as our c value. So y equals 3x plus 9 is the equation. Again, going from a graph, one that we don't have, we do have a y-intercept, sorry. So we've got 0, 3 here, and negative 4, 0, finding the gradient. So let's do our 3 minus 0. So this is my y2 and x2 values, minus, all over 0 minus negative 4. So that's a positive, giving us 3 over 4. And that's it. We can just leave it at that form, 3 over 4. Because we have the y-intercept, again, we can just do plus 3 for our c value, just using our y-intercept there. There's a slightly different way that this can be done. So again, we've got y equals mx plus c. We're using the gradient, but we can write out our equation using this rule here. So if we were finding the equation connecting these points, you can see I'm finding my gradient. So in this case, 2 minus 0 over 1 minus 0, which finishes as 2. I can then use my x1 and y1 values in this equation. So I've just subbed in 0, 0 here and here. And 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 0 is nothing. So we end up with y equals 2x. So we've simplified the equation. Let's just do a couple of those now. So our gradient will be, in this case, 9 minus 3 over 3 minus 1, which gives us 6 over 2, which is 3. I'm going to sub in this point here to the function, so x minus 1, y minus 3, and my gradient in here. Expanding this bracket, we end up with 3x minus 3, and we can add 3 to both sides, finishing with y equals 3x. Let's look at another one. So I'm going to do negative 6 minus 2, and 4 minus negative 4 becomes a positive. So negative 8 over 8, which is negative 1. Subbing in our points here, so y minus negative 4, x minus 2, and negative 1 here. Just be careful with those. negatives. Otherwise, you might accidentally make a mistake and change the sign. So I think that's, oh no, I've done it the wrong way around anyway. Hold on a second. So x minus -4 here, and y minus 2, and yep, -1 there. Expanding these brackets, this is of course a positive, so -1x minus 4. We can then add 2 to both sides, giving us -x minus 2. All right, another one here. Something a bit strange about this is you can see we've got the same y values, so just be aware of that. That's 0 over 6, which is 0. So you're going to find that we end up with y minus 2 equals 0, so y just equals positive 2. So that's a horizontal line intercepting the y-axis at 2. Let's have a look at this one. Lots of negatives here. So -4 minus -5, that becomes a plus. -1 minus -5, again a plus, giving us 1 over 4. Positive 4, yep, that's right. Subbing in our values, you can use either point here, so let's go with -5 there, 1/4 minus -5, that becomes a plus. This is going to become a plus as well. And expanding the brackets, subtracting 5 from both sides. That's the same as 20 over 4. So that's minus 15 over 4. Hopefully I've got that one right. I think I have. But just work through that one as well. So there's those two methods, whichever one you prefer. I'm happy with either way. Both would be fine in a test. Certainly if you've got a y-intercept given to you, you can just put that straight in for your c value, as we saw in these early questions here.